Times now continues, and as we speak I can tell you the SIT team is going through the documents that Navita Kumar promised you, and will pull them out in just a bit. But just to recap this piece of news breaking first on Times Now, we have accessed all the incriminating chats, the sensational Rhea Dipesh conversation accessed. You will not find them on any other channel. Dipesh was Rhea's go-to man for drugs. Confirmed for the first time on TV, and this is just adding to the insider account you heard. Arunil Saradater speaking to Sushant's friend, who's gone on record to name all of these individuals. Shruti, Jaya, Rhea. When she was asked who got the drugs, she said these were the people who were behind it, and also told Times Now that Rhea's father used to prescribe, used to administer heavy medicines, viewers, heavy medicines. Look at the chats coming up on this big screen. Dipesh to Rhea, the date is 27th April 2020. This year, the latest chats getting green for 5,000 for one bag. So far, what has come out is 4 drops of something we don't know, 2 bags full of weed, 17,000 transaction, and now this. Green for 5,000, one bag. Dipesh Swant to Rhea. This man was no ordinary housekeeper. He was managing everything. Let's go to the next one. Rhea to Dipesh. Rhea says, we currently have hash, right? So he was the man who knew what was available, what wasn't, in how much quantity.
It appears, Pranesh, that Dipesh was the helmsman for this entire operation. He was the anchor, really, of this particular ring, because he was obviously going out there and procuring stuff on the behalf of Rhea and perhaps the others. So Rhea was going across. Let's just go into those chats, and those now go back to the 27th of April 2020. So viewers, this is very, very critical, because we just showed you a video of Dipesh. We're just trying to pull out those visuals of him reportedly smoking some sort of drug. I can't say what it is, but the video has been put out by an unverified source. It's an unverified video. I have to put all those caveats down, but they definitely show Dipesh, this individual. Now, Dipesh, remember, was brought in and replaced the existing staff that was working at the Sushant Singh Rajput home. That's the video. This video has been put out by an individual on Instagram, and it shows Dipesh consuming some sort of a narcotic, allegedly. I'm using the word allegedly because this is not Times Now's authenticated video. It is on social media. It is accompanied by a music track, and it seems to suggest that Dipesh is habituated to the use of some drug which can be smoked. Now I'm going to go back to Pranesh with this background for our viewers to explain what the conversation is. And let's get straight into it, because when they talk about peddy, they mean the peddler. Yes.
This video is important, Rahul, because for the last few days at least, this has been doing the rounds on social media, and the commentary around the video is that, look at this man, the housekeeper of Sushant Singh Rajput, who was consuming weed. Yes. We don't know what he was consuming. Let's look at the chat.
Yes,
this is the video. Let's go back to the chat.
Yes.
The Rhea Dipesh Swant chats accessed on Times Now, coming up on the big screen. Let's go to the April 2020 chats here. Here they are on the big screen. Dipesh to Rhea, getting green for 5,000, one bag. The date is 27th April 2020. This year, Rahul, this year, the latest chats which were deleted. Let's go to the next one. Rhea tells Dipesh, are you here? Are you here? And then the next message, Rhea to Dipesh, we currently have hash, right? She's asking Dipesh, how much of hash do we have? Don't get for now. Don't get for now. Rhea to Dipesh, then Dipesh to Rhea. Dipesh tells Rhea, yes, we may get over in next 3 to 4 days. So this is some household staple there, and essential for both Dipesh and Rhea. And Dipesh is the individual
and then
who
she
keeps
asked him from where.
Yes.
So he says, one of my friend called me, said his peddy, means peddler, is gonna deliver it here in Bandra. It is the same stuff we get from our peddler. So clearly they have one particular peddler, whether it is the individual that we exposed yesterday or it is someone new, we don't know. Remember, viewers, I told you at 5 p.m. today that the NCB was looking deeper into the number of procurers of Rhea and whether she actually only was dealing with one or two. Gaurav Arya is certainly one of those individuals. Were there more in the mix? That's what the NCB is looking at. And now we are being told that a case under NDPS Act might be finalized. Navika, much is developing. She joins us now on the broadcast. Massive Times Now investigation impact. NCB files case to probe the drug conspiracy under the relevant act.
That's right. It is something that we've been saying since yesterday. Yesterday, we first reported the drugs angle and the fact that the Enforcement Directorate had sent all of these details that they had got from the deleted chats of Rhea Chakraborty, and when they were downloaded, the digital footprint was got. It was shared with the Narcotics Control Bureau, and these are the chats where this entire information is being shared between Dipesh Swant, Samuel Miranda and Rhea Chakraborty, and all of them talking about the sourcing of these drugs, the money that is coming out, once it is a 5K consignment, once it's a 17K consignment. We don't know how often they got this, but certainly drugs and instructions. What's important is that Rhea was the one who was instructing the other people in the innermost ring of Sushant Singh Rajput and ordering these drugs. She was the one. We showed you yesterday through the chats, Gaurav Arya since 2017.
It's in very serious sections. We are being told by Bhavtosh, we're going to try and connect to him. NCB has registered a case. Details of the NCB case are awaited. Section 20, 22, 27, 29 of the NDPS Act. Section 20 involves commercial quantity with rigorous imprisonment for a term that shall not be less than 10 years, but which may extend to 20 years. The case has been registered. Let me bring in Bhavtosh. Bhavtosh, what can you tell us?
Rahul, we are at Narcotics Control Bureau where a meeting is going on. In fact, NCB Director Rakesh Asthana has given a go-ahead to the investigating officers to register a case in this matter. The case, as you rightly said, have been registered under several very stringent sections of NDPS Act, Section 20, 22, 27 and 29. It has been registered against all those who have been named in the letter that has been written by ED to NCB and CBI. This is the third federal probe agency that will now investigate Rhea Chakraborty. NCB officials have also said that the entire probe will be monitored here from Delhi by an officer of the rank of Deputy Director Operations. He will be heading the probe. They have said that the very fact that the WhatsApp chat mentioned amounts like 17,000 rupees, 2 bags, clearly showed that it was not for personal consumption. Under NDPS Act, if a person is consuming drugs for personal use, then he's sent for rehabilitation. But here there is something else. Here the drugs that are being talked about, discussed, and WhatsApp messages are being shared. It appears that there is some kind of commercial transaction or business is going on, and that's the reason why NCB has registered a case.
We are getting information. The head of the director of the Narcotics Control Bureau has just confirmed to me that the story exposed by Times Now, it is the Narcotics Control Bureau which has registered the case on this expose. Remember, yesterday this case was handed over by the Enforcement Directorate to the Narcotics Control Bureau, and yesterday we were able to access a few WhatsApp chats, and first within hours, Rahul, less than about 20 hours, we've been able to get a case registered, and all those who have been found talking and sourcing these drugs have now been registered. In this case, clearly trouble mounting for Rhea Chakraborty.
And Navika, another big breaking news. One of the suppliers, I think the peddy, quote unquote, that is being referred to, Sushant, is breaking this story. He's a history sheeter with the Mumbai police, currently under the lens of agencies. He's allegedly supplied cocaine and other hard drugs to many beat-down celebrities. So beat-down celebrities now also will be investigated. So this is becoming bigger and bigger. Remember, we said yesterday that Rhea could be just one in the chain. There could be a whole...
And if there is a drug ring, they are not going to be politicians and B-Town biggies, A-listers are far behind. Siddhant joining us. Siddhant, well, the Mumbai police says one of the history sheeters is under their lens. What were they doing all along when this case was being investigated by news channels like Times Now rather than the Mumbai police itself? Now that we break the drug cartel story yesterday, the Mumbai police wakes up and says that a history sheeter is somebody who's under their lens. What were they doing all this time, from February when the first warning went out to now when we have begun to expose the drug cartel as the real angle really here, at least among the biggest angles that has been uncovered so far. And now the Mumbai police says, yes, some history cheaters are under their lens.
Well, that's absolutely right, Navika. You know, right after our news break and right after we got this in public domain that there is a drug angle which is indeed involved in it. Now, the agencies are confirming to me that there is one very infamous drug peddler of Bandra. He operates from Bandra, is currently under their lens. He is a history sheeter with the Mumbai police. Now, I do have name of that person, but I'm still waiting for the final confirmation so that we can really put it out for our viewers, the name of that history sheeter. We have also been told, Navika, right after the instruction from the director in Delhi of Narcotics Control Bureau, even NCB has also is also keeping that particular fellow under the lens, and in all likelihood that person is going to get summoned first in this entire case. Now, the fact here is, Navika, that this person is involved in supplying drugs to Bollywood personalities and Bollywood parties, and this is a known fact, not just
72 days, Siddhant, they slept, the Mumbai police has slept, and suddenly Times Now's investigation team has woken them up to the realities that are actually under their nose. Siddhant, this is a major lapse by the Mumbai police, isn't it? Major. You should be grilling them and you should be bringing them to account. This is all happening in Bandra. They were alerted, in fact, by the family in February. If they had woken up then, Sushant Singh Rajput would not be dead. They have blood on their hands.
And if I could come in, Rahul.
That's absolutely right, Rahul. It is Times Now who exposed this particular angle, because not just in February, even after post 14 June's investigation, when Bombay police was probing this case, nowhere this angle came up. Nowhere even I got to know from my sources in Mumbai police that this particular angle also, this particular angle is also a part of an investigation. They were busy doing power plays. They were busy calling biggies of the Bollywood. But what about the real angle? Now, we are getting the real angle for our viewers, and you see the agencies are following our investigation, and Bhavtosh is getting us the story that NCB finally registers case in this entire case, and now
Pranesh,
proper investigation will take...
The Home Minister of Maharashtra would be reacting. That reaction hasn't come through.
When Kajal Iyer went to the Maharashtra Home Minister this morning to seek a reaction on the drug disclosure, Rahul and Navika, Anil Deshmukh said that I will speak later, and we have that bite belt ready and we'll pull that out. He said, I will talk later. 2 hours later, he emerged out of his residence and he said, no comments now, I will talk in the evening. It's 7:45, 7:15 now. It's evening already.
Why are we telling you all of this, Navika? We are telling you all of this because the Dipesh Rhea chats are out.
Absolutely, the Dipesh Rhea chats, and if we have those chats, and these are not text graphics, ladies and gentlemen, these are the original chats as downloaded by the agencies from the digital footprint that Rhea had tried to destroy. Yes, she tried to delete these WhatsApp chats, and I just want our director to put these chats on the wall right now, because these chats tell you, number one, our focus is going to be the Dipesh Swant chats. Dipesh Swant, a man you saw this morning in a viral video where yes, and on the left side of your screen is the Home Minister of Maharashtra, who was not asked once but twice today questions of how he should really respond to the drug angle, and he hasn't found time yet because he has nothing to say. And that is the big reason why is the Mumbai...
Navika, they are probably, I don't know, maybe they tried to cover it up. Maybe they had a lot of things to say. They realized that if they had said them, some of their friends or what have you might get exposed.
Not
people
friends,
in high
it's
places.
it's relatives, politicians. Let me come out and say this loud and clear, that it's not just one party in the Aghadi which has things to hide. There are two parties, and there are two science that are being looked at very closely, even as
two science are being looked at very closely, viewers. Two science, that's authenticated news. That's Mr. Swant had very little to say. We can boost the NAT on those pictures for
Mr.
30
Deshmukh,
seconds.
Anil Deshmukh.
That's right, Mr. Anil Deshmukh. Let's just boost the NAT.
Sir, needed a reaction. We have accessed chats that show that Rhea Chakraborty was dealing in drugs, or at least talking about drugs with some people. Will the Mumbai police be acting on her NDPS Act or anything of that sort be applied to her? And was the Mumbai police even aware of this?
I'll speak it later. I'll speak later.
So were you aware
not
of
now.
this? Were you aware of this? So since you said you will speak later, have you had any information about Rhea Chakraborty and the drug chats that she probably had with her associates? Was the Mumbai police aware of this?
No comment.
Sir, you said that you will speak later, sir.
Later in the evening.
Well, these are the WhatsApp chats that we have accessed. These are, of course, from yesterday. You have MD. Can I ask my director to pull out the Dipesh Swant chats? Shashi, if you have access to them. All right, 10 seconds is what he says.
Well, here are some of those on paper, Navika, right here with me. And what they tell you is that clearly Dipesh was the procurement link. There it is. Let's go back to that. That's from Rhea to Dipesh. Yes, Navika.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We still don't have, Shashi, the chat, the paper of the chat. This is the visual you're showing me of Dipesh Swant. I want the paper of the chat right here. Figure it out in your PCR. But Dipesh to Rhea says, getting green for 5K, one bag. So they're discussing the rates that are going on. And in these rates, well, I have those chats on my phone. I was wondering if my director could pull out those chats which are there. We were just making the graphics out of them and actually putting our tag on it, because other channels do have a tendency to pick up our stuff, and that's the activity that's currently on, trying to keep it exclusive to us. Shashi, have you been able to access these chats that we sent to you about many minutes ago?
Okay, they're not on screen right now. I don't know why they're not being put on screen, and we're going to try and get our desk to give us a copy right now. Here they are. Viewers, it's in my hand. There is a copy. There's Murli coming into the newsroom and into the studio and handing them to us. What we need right now is to put them on actually the channel. There you can see them at the back of us so that we can get a better sense of what they are.
It's right here. It says...
This is a video. This is a video. I think there's a bit of confusion right now. We're trying to get hold of the chats, these pages that need to be put on our screens here. These are the pages.
This is the entire
That's right.
here, ladies.
Oh, there they are.
Yes. Well, we don't have. Why don't we just remove these, because we don't have right now the exclusive watermark on them, and this. Well, this is the chat that we have. Have been able to access. Hi, can you give Dipesh 17K for 2 bags? Is what Sushi Miranda is telling Rhea. Also, good morning, Sam. Need your help, please. Dogs for adoption. So Rhea is telling him dogs for adoption are ready, and Wi-Fi not working still. Clearly, Wi-Fi is the money. Dogs for adoption is the drugs. Call me when you can. Thank you. This is the chat. I have other chats in my hand, and if I can show you these copies, but again, these copies are going to leak out.
Well, we can just keep our fingers on them.
But there is no exclusive watermark on it, so if you can just put those...
Yeah, let's just look at it very clearly. Navika, it's on screen.
Okay, so this is it.
Yeah,
getting green for 5K, 1 bag. This is on 27th of April 2020, and this is at 12:47. This is what Dipesh Swant tells Rhea, informs her about this, and then he goes on to discuss the rates with her. All of these chats where they're discussing, downloaded straight from the investigators. We have the chats. There is a bit of confusion in our production control room. So we will try and put these out in just a bit, because it's so small right here that you may not be able to read quite what is being said in these chats. Well,
let's just go to the screen for the moment on them, and let's pull out the chat on the screen as we just showed you in the graphics.
We already
if that
have,
can just
and
be
we've
brought
done.
out. Yes.
This we've been doing for a while.
It's very important, viewers. Right now, let me just go across to Vivek also from the newsroom. We're going to try and get those across. Vivek, yes, just take us through some of these conversations.
See this most important message from Rhea to Miranda Sushi. Well, it's quite clear who Miranda Sushi is in this context. And he asked, hi, can you give Dipesh 17,000 rupees for 2 bags of weed, one for us and another for him, and he will transfer it to us. Well, this is the biggest clincher, the clearest evidence that this was not small amounts of ganja or marijuana that they were using. These were huge amounts, and for 17,000 they're getting 2 bags. I mean, one needs to ask these people. Already a case has been filed against them, asking them why did they need so much of psychotropic substance and drugs. Well, the next message is more interesting. It says, good morning, Sam, need your help, please. Dogs for adoption with trainer and Wi-Fi not working still. Call me when you can. Well, this is a message which the agencies are looking at very closely, because after a point you can see that their entire conversation was coded. They knew that several of them may be apprehended, despite them trying to delete some of the conversations between each other. Remember, their idea was as a group. Rhea was in the center, and she ensured that these things, all the drugs was procured, and Samuel Miranda, people in the house, the other servants, including Pitani, were instrumental in giving him these drugs, whether in form of pills. And earlier, remember, there was a conversation where they asked, how many drops should I give and how should it be dispensed? The clear instruction was 2 to 3 drops, and the fact that it will start taking effect in a matter of 30 to 40 minutes. Rahul.
Get it on air. Yes, that's what it is. That's what it is. Let's put that getting green for 5,000, 1 bag. That is Dipesh to Rhea. Let's push the continue button on that graphic. Are you here? Rhea says to Dipesh. Are you here? Are you around? Can you answer me? We currently have hash right. She asks him. Let's move. Don't get for now, she orders him. Abhi mat laiye, don't get any hash for now.
Yes, we may get over in 3 to 4 days. So she says, abhi mat lao, 3-4 din ka stock hai, and she's asking him.
That is Dipesh telling him.
Yeah, and she says, where are you getting this from?
Yes.
And then he says to her that one of my friend called me, his peddy is gonna deliver it to her in Bandra. It is the same stuff we get from our ped. So this is a new drug peddler they are trying, and peddy is the other one they want to try, and this is the entire conversation that's going on between Dipesh to Rhea. We have the papers for this. They are right here. We are not putting them out, but I can hold it up to the camera and just so that other people don't get access to it. This is right here on our pages in black and white. We have all of this. In fact, on my phone are some colored copies as well. This is how the whole conversation was going on.
So what basically is happening here, Navika, is that drugs are being actively sourced, and look at the timeline there, 27th of April 2020. So this is April 27th, going into May. This is well and truly into the lockdown, viewers, well and truly into the lockdown, when individuals are supposed to be sitting tight at home. And by then, as we know, and let me just bring in our reporters as well as our guests on this as we break this down, Siddhant and Arunil. Arunil, we were well into the lockdown, yet these individuals were still getting their drugs. Here, people were not being able to get their food, but these people were getting their drugs, and the drugs were being used, as we know, to give to Sushant Singh Rajput.
Well, Rahul, these chats clearly nail Rhea Chakraborty as well as all her accomplices. But we also spoke to an insider just some time back. We were playing it, and that also reflects how these people, basically Samuel Miranda, was the main person who was sourcing drugs for Rhea Chakraborty. They were having it in the house, and were they compelling? Were they purposely giving it to actor Sushant Singh Rajput? Also, that is the big question that arises. If we remember, all the earlier staff of actor Sushant Singh Rajput, they were completely changed by Rhea Chakraborty. So was she meticulously planning all this, getting her own people so that she can work in connivance with them and basically drug actor Sushant Singh Rajput and ensure financial exploitation as well as mental exploitation of the late actor? These are some very serious questions that are coming to the fore.
So also getting in at this point are guests who are with us. But before I go to them, we have with us Arunil. Arunil, the drug angle was waiting. It's the worst kept secret in Bollywood. In Mumbai and Bandra seems to be some sort of a hot spot, and people living in Mumbai seem to think so. So Arunil, what was the Mumbai police doing for the last 72 days? They didn't confiscate the phones of Rhea Chakraborty.
Well, Navika,
they did not access these chats. They did not look at any drugs angle. There was absolutely no investigation. Who in Mumbai police was doing this protection of this entire case, Rhea Chakraborty, and who did he have orders from?
Well, Navika, it is very much clear because one of the witnesses informed us also that Mumbai police was informed about this drug angle, was informed to basically probe into this drug angle as well. But they conveniently basically didn't bother about it. They were only interested in the suicide angle. Was there a major cover-up? There is definitely a nexus that is brewing in the Bandra area, basically the political as well as the Bollywood stars and the drug mafia nexus. Mumbai police obviously must be knowing about it, and were they purposely sidelining it? Were they purposely overlooking this just to ensure that they get their own profits? This is the big question that arises, and whether there is a senior politician, basically as you mentioned, basically a political scion also involved in this. This is the major question that arises, and in some time we can expect more skeletons to tumble out of the closet as well.
We also have our guests joining us tonight on this biggest investigation. And here, ladies and gentlemen, we have these documents, these chats put out right here. And we'll take these chats on screen, on this screen. And this is the conversation that is going on between Dipesh, Rhea, where they are talking about sourcing these drugs. They're also talking about, at this moment, looking at, getting 5K per bag of marijuana. They're also talking about 17K for other consignments. They're talking about drug peddlers. One they usually get it from. Now a new guy is coming into the picture, and Dipesh Swant is taking orders from Rhea Chakraborty. Also, yesterday we showed you that Shovik also had a supplier, and that is something that Rhea, was being asked by Samuel Miranda and Dipesh Swant, the two associates employed by Rhea Chakraborty in Sushant Singh Rajput's house. And this entire drug network was basically looking at probably keeping Sushant Singh Rajput drugged.
Absolutely. Navika, this story is going to get bigger. We're going to take a very short break, and we are right back in 3 minutes. Viewers, stay with us. We're going to go across to our guests also.